Today, we will be playing Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion, and you might be wondering what we'll be doing in this lovely game, and the answer is quite obvious. Kill a whole bunch of endangered animals, though we will commit tax evasion and some other crimes along the way. So when we enter the game, we are going to see this lovely piece of paper, which we are going to, of course, tear up. That will cause the mayor to personally go to our house to force us to be his servants, so we can pay off our debts. So since we have no other choice, we agree. And in the process, we have to steal a old lemon's watering can. Then while exploring the forest north of my greenhouse, I found a pear graffiti artist. Then after exploring a little bit more, we find ourselves a lovely tool known as the soil sword. And then while exiting the forest, I found a terrible carrot babysitter, though if you think about it, they are a carrot, so it makes sense. We also killed a snail that was late on their rent money. Though it worked out well in the end, because the blueberry was able to get some chips. When I was on my way to go where I needed to go next, I met a very political vegetable. When I got to the barn, I met a vegetable streamer who is right about one thing, that you should like and subscribe, or Turnip Boy will find you. Then, I stole a tier 3 sub from a sandwich bar so I could enter the barn. Ripped up the paper she gave me, because I'm not a simp. Then inside the barn, I blew myself up with a bomb. Why? I don't know, I just did it because I felt like it. Further in the barn, I found myself a nice pair of boom boots. And also blew some stuff up. And then I talked to this poor, unfortunate vegetable. I also proceeded to rip up a tax guide. Then I quickly grabbed a nearby key. Then I entered a room full of farm animals. Then after I dealt with the farm animals inside, I quickly finished the puzzle in the room. Found a vegetable worker who had gotten stuck in this room due to animals. Then in the next room over, I caught the king of pigs eating a gigantic bag of fertilizer. So I cornered the king pig and attacked him very effectively. Then after I did it a second time, I was able to defeat the king pig, causing him to explode into a giant pile of bacon. Then, now that king pig is defeated, I grabbed myself a heart fruit. Then I grabbed the very disgusting smelling fertilizer. And then I convinced a vegetable construction worker to give me their documents to prove that they worked here, and ripped them up, completely outplaying them. Then I got this completely meaningless trophy. And then a little bit after that, I picked up some goods from a totally legal seller of goods. And I also saw a giant puzzle, so I completed it and got another heart fruit. So then I went back to the barn and delivered the wood, and got an extra hard hat. Then I delivered the fertilizer to the mayor, only to be given another task. Then learned from a local snail watcher that the snails everywhere are endangered and that they should be not killed, though it's already too late for that, so I just continue doing it anyway. And then I found the lost carrot baby in the trash can. So then I brought the baby carrot back to the babysitter so I could get the stool and actually enter the farmhouse. Afterward, I whipped up one of the nearby wanted posters. And then I got a face mask, a band-aid, a bottle of medicine, all as medical supplies to give to the Dr. Lollipop person. Then I talked to this very complex baby bean who knew a lot about stuff. And then a little bit later on, I found myself a nice pair of move mittens. Saved the cherry child from the scary monster. And then I gave the cherry child back to the cherry's sister. After walking through the bedroom door, I found the rotten cat apple with buttered toast on its back. And then I bombed it into oblivion. And then I found the lost cat apple, so I picked it up. And then I picked up some spray paint and activated the generator. And then we grew this lovely flower and delivered it to Strawberry for Blueberry. And we got this lovely love letter from Strawberry to Blueberry that we are going to tear up, and then go back to Blueberry for our payment. Next, we go to Gran and give her the missing cat apple, and tear up this very inaccurate manga. Then we give this spray paint to the pear for another lovely heart fruit. After that, we give the fork to Mayor Onion, and he tells us to head to the radiated woods for the next quest. And then at the bottom of the rocky ramp area, we find Holly's phone, and quickly change the password. And after we enter the radiated forest, we find a turnip patch with a non-living turnip there. So we take out our anger on this giant deer that happens to run away. Then we get a key from the research station, so we promptly head to the next area. And then in the next room, we find a living acorn that had climbed out of the nuclear waste, and we head into the next room, where we find a radiation-eating deer, which we promptly throw many bombs at and quickly defeat it. And then we pick up the next lovely heart fruit. Then in the next room over, we find the beautiful green goop. Then by the time we get back to the lab, Turnip Boy becomes luminescent. And then over on this stump, when you exit the building, you find out that one of the acorns from earlier now wants to own some real estate. Then we proceed to rip up this old receipt next to the old house. After that, we go back to the rocky ramp and give Holly back her phone and rip up her petition to save Flip Flop. After that, we go to the real estate Blueberry and get some real estate for the acorn, with the leaf he gave us. Then when we got to the mayor, he took the green goop and sent us to get another item. So then I went to the bunker that I had to go to, only to be told by the IRS that I needed to get a tool so I could enter the bunker. When I got to Tots, he told me that I needed to find a rich person's grave so he could take what's inside, and only then would he give me the shovel. So then I reluctantly entered the graveyard, only to be met by not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 riddles I had to solve. Even though they were pretty easy, it was still annoying to do. So when I finally found the grave and dug it up, I immediately took the shovel and headed back to the bunker. And now after all this time, I finally get to enter the bunker. And then I saw some of the last humans still on Earth. And in one of the bathrooms was even some blue hair dye. And in one of the bedrooms, I found an old newspaper that confirmed my theory that the nuclear bombs created radiation, bringing the fruits and veggies all around to life. After that, I decided to set myself on fire so I could gain access to a hazmat suit so I no longer take fire damage. Then I got beat up by beans. Twice. Then when I entered the room, I accidentally mutated and killed the human known as Liz that was seen in all the diaries. But it wasn't all bad, because I was able to get the laser pointer. And the last piece of pizza. And then I gave Mayor Onion the laser pointer only to be locked out of my own greenhouse because he decided to take it for his own. So I did the logical thing and talked to the old man next to my house, only to find out that he and my father were both mobsters, and that he even had a secret entrance to my house, which I obviously entered my house through. And I entered the mafia base only to learn that my father and Mayor Onion used to work together and they were even going to dismantle the nuclear bomb, but they didn't do a really good job because when I hit it, it exploded. And then when I entered the greenhouse, I got assaulted by the IRS. But I easily defeated them though. And after I defeated the IRS, Mayor Onion used all the items that I gave him to transform, and he was pretty strong, but I was still able to beat him in the end. But then before he died, he got back up and told me that he noticed that I destroyed every single governmental document. And then he told me that he killed my parent as well because he didn't want them to be in the way of his plans. And then he proceeded to nuke me, which was very rude. And before I gave up hope, I was awakened by the IRS. Slowly but surely, I woke up. And when I woke up, he told me that we left the atmosphere, and I was confronted by Mayor Onion becoming a god, and he was going to bring taxation without representation to the universe. And of course, I had to stop him. Oh, and he also decided he wanted to kill me too. So I kicked a boom bloom into one of the IRS members, sending them to the god, and causing him to take a lot of damage. But it wasn't enough. I still had to continue. And I did the next IRS member as well, but it still wasn't enough. So I went to the 3rd IRS member. And then after sending the 3rd boom bloom to the 3rd IRS member, I was able to finally defeat Mayor Onion. And now with everything dealt with, Turnip Boy can finally get to rest in his greenhouse once again.